Welcome to episode 120 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. That deserves a round of applause by itself. 120, we're making strides. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. Thank you for tuning in. You know where to find me, right? And anyway is listen to thing, and anyway is watch thing these days we upload in a while. As usual, you'll find this podcast every Tuesday morning. Despite popular belief, bright and early every Tuesday morning, you'll have episodes ready. Don't let the rumor mongers fool you. I want to start this episode by giving credit to people. Because sometimes I find myself coming here and complaining for a long time, right? And this week, I see plenty people get plenty thing right. So I want to give credit where credit is due. So if you could start off the episode a little bit like this.
Do you know Mr. John Boulay?
Bim bam.
That man from Charlottesville.
Bim bam.
He owe me $1 bill.
Bim bam. He owe me for something.
Bim bam. Ever hear them a lump before? Bim bam. Ever hear them a rent before? Bim bam. Ever hear them a thrust before? Bim bam.
Tim bam. Tim bam.
He jump on the jacket back.
Yes.
Go over his right. Go over his left. He shake his head. He shake his hand.
Raga 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 tim bam.
Shake his head.
Raga 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 tim bam.
Shake his head.
Raga 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 tim bam.
Ayo-ho. Aye-hey.
Raga raga tim bam. Tim bam. Tim bam. That is the voice of the great Desmond Waite. And the Marionette Choir, no disrespect, of course. Great Desmond Waite. Arranger. What's it called? Educator, so many things. And I saw the UTT. Only the UTT get it right. Because over the past week, I see UTT award a PhD posthumously to the great Dr. Desmond Waite.
Jump on the jacket go over his right, go over his left, shake his hand, shake his hand, ayo-ho, aye-hey.
You see, when the institutions get it thing right, I don't knock the people who giving out the national awards and thing. Although Desmond Waite is already a national awardee, receiving the Hummingbird Silver. But UTT, respecting the culture and making sure that the greats in the culture never go unsung. Salute to them. So if you don't know Desmond Waite, right, that's that voice you're hearing leading the Marionette Choir there is Desmond Waite with the quattro in hand. And I encourage you to go to YouTube to watch that little clip yourself. Just look up John Boulay Marionette Choir and you will see him among other people. That was his arrangement as well as he was the lead singer. But I know in the later years, up to 2019, you could find other versions of other lead singers singing that arrangement by Desmond Waite. And it is one of the most infectious pieces of music you will hear. And listen, just the way he come out to that quattro and the way that man's voice resonate through the whole audience and straight out your computer and at your YouTube, and the smile that he does the thing with that alone deserve a PhD. But if that wasn't enough to give it to him, I mean, being the musical arranger for the Marionettes is a difficult thing to do, a hard act to follow. I mean, when you look at the choir directors we've had in the country for choirs like the Lydians, the Southerners, the Marionettes, this is top class. There's nobody better. You're talking about people like Pat Bishop and so on, and Joyce Caesar. And Desmond Waite is right there with them. He was also classical musical director in BP Renegades. I know he had, early in his career, he arranged with New Tones. He talks about This Party Is It being his first song he arranged for Pan. And that was Tambu, right? And, you know, we have a little bit of historical things that I will try to bring out as we go along, because there's a connection between the choirs and the Pan that is undeniable when you look at Renegades and Marionettes, or the Lydians and Despers. So those connections there in the music, and while it might be spelled out in history, we will do the work to put it together. I know that Exodus as well was celebrating this PhD that he got, because he's an old Tuna Puna boy, and he was also the founder of what you call the Exo Cubs, the youth orchestra in Exodus. So salute to him. Salute to him, and we're grateful that the right people being recognized in the right spaces in the culture, and nothing short of a PhD. You know what I mean? That's why I like what the universities could do. You know, because the university don't give no honor. Do the university get honorary bachelors and honorary masters and thing? I don't know, you know. But I like that is the top of the class, is the PhD, is the highest award that the university could offer, that they went ahead and gave to Dr. Desmond Wade. I like it a lot. UTT also did it right this weekend. I saw that they awarded a PhD as well to the Archbishop Jason Gordon. Great man. As far as I'm concerned, it's Jason Charles Gordon or Charles Jason Gordon. I always like to say you have a name like in County Council. You might have a normal name, but I think that's what I like about him the most. He just normal. He's talk just like us talk in the way he's talk. He you know, when he making his points and he talk, he says, so how I songing? Let's talk to me now. Let me hear what you feel. And I see him as one of the most pragmatic voices that we have in the local tapestry. And the way he contributes to not just the religious dialogue or the religious discussion, but also just the day-to-day as to what happened in Trinidad and Tobago. I remember his utterances during COVID, encouraging people to be patient, encouraging the government to be understanding. The dude is just a boss, regardless of what religion you subscribe to. Take a little minute and listen to Jason Gordon. He's one of the best people to listen to, whether it's a sermon or they have him in an interview or they must do press conference, media conference and things. Whenever you hear him on the news or in church or anything, just listen to what he had to say. He's one of the best storytellers. He makes the best points. He encourages you to be even keeled and, slow in your decision making. Don't be too hasty and that kind of thing. And just in receiving his PhD, he was able to give some inspiring words to the youths who were there receiving their awards of either bachelor's, maybe associate's, bachelor's, and master's degrees. But he does not do it in the absence of the regular society. One of the things I always used to find about going to church, at that time back in the day, they used to make me go St. Crispin in the morning for 7 o'clock. When that come, I came change my clothes. I just had to eat fast. And then I'm going back Unity. For next Unity used to be about 5-6 hours long on a Sunday. And when them 5-6 hours done and I come, I can't change again. I just had to go Ebenezer for Sunday school. Hey, listen, they try all kinds of things with man religion, but nothing stick. Nothing, or maybe a lot stick, coming to think about it. But one of the things I always found, and maybe it was the Anglican Church in particular, and the way they used to put across sermons and unity to all of them, it was so focused around the gospel and the word and being committed to the Lord and all that, which is good things. I no knock on that at all, but I always used to feel like it does not connect with what I do on a day-to-day basis. So it feels like you go to church to hear that on a Sunday, you forget about that, and then you go back on with your regular life. But I feel like Archbishop Jason Gordon and a lot of the priests, pundits, imams, a lot of them today, you find that their conversation is more ground level. They're talking about the actual issues that happen in school and in the country today or in the world today. And they help give us guidance from the scripture or from their beliefs and their writings or teachings as to how you could navigate these things or how we could get out of these things or how we could make better choices. And he was just like he always is in that speech he gave to the youths to inspire them. And I heard him as well talking about the situation we saw during the course of this week where a teacher have children lying down and basically telling them, stay quiet, kids, and you're hearing gunshots passing. But apparently it was outside Rose Hill School. Now, a few things about that, right? I was surprised at how quick that discussion moved from how heartbreaking and how heart-wrenching it is to see something like that and little children having to go through that. And the conversation quickly shifted to the teacher don't know what she's doing and why she's throwing faces and all that. And I was a little confused. I'm not sure if that is what we need to discuss and air out at that point in time, or should we be discussing and airing out why these gangsters airing out one another outside of school? Let we don't lose focus on what the issue is. Because if it was my son in a school like that, I picture my son in boys' school in San Fernando and gunshot firing, and teacher had a resort to getting all of us to lie down, to all the boys to lie down to, I guess, safeguard themselves. A sad situation, because people shooting one another outside the school. My first concern would not be if his face is in the video or the fact that he ended up in a video looking frightened and so on. I would be so grateful to that teacher, whether she take the video or not. I'm so grateful that she do what could be done to protect my son. And the gratitude I have will not be measurable. So I was a little confused as to how people jump so quick to the teacher and why she making video. No, I'll admit I was a little weird because she sounded like the one who was making the most noise. Boys, keep quiet, children, keep quiet, please. You know what she said in the middle of it too? They answering back, I said, but this teacher gangster too. I said, this teacher is a thug too. How she know about answering back? And clearly she communicating to this trend about answering back, like this trend know what is answering back. I sure if I tell Zachary about answering back, now he don't know what is that. But I would be just grateful that I have a teacher who, because in the fear of the moment and gunshot busting like that, I could tell you if I was teaching all the children, I go on. I might actually be in shock and get small and get low and, you know what I mean, running a zigzag pattern and these trends were short, you know what I mean? Nothing will catch them. It's me, the tall ones is who will get straight bullet. I might have kick out. So I don't know if we're forgetting that this teacher took the time to protect these children and so on. And some other people tell me like this is something that because of where Rose Hill School is located, there might be a lot of issues like that going on. And in other words, they're accustomed to that. I don't know that that is a valid argument at all, because even if they're accustomed to that, you had to be grateful to have a teacher who willing to put up with that. Because if I teaching in a school and gunshot fire like that outside the school on the day, all your children gonna be looking for a teacher. I'm not going through certain things. I am not staying in no job. Well, I mean, you're talking from a position of privilege when you're saying that, right? So let me acknowledge that. But you see, me, I find work. I lecture in several different schools in all kind of different subjects over the years. I want to go one of them school and I hear shot firing outside. We don't teach. It's over. I hope all you graduate. I hope you all do well. Best wishes and so on. You know what I mean? Send me pictures and all your gong and all that. But I am not hanging around. So I think before we condemn the teacher for making a video and talking more than anything and moving around the class and showing all the children, why not take a moment to just thank that teacher for being a calm enough and protective force to our children? Those teachers already do that on a day-to-day basis. I see a simple little thing outside my son's school the other day. I go to pick him up. If you know the school on Harris Promenade, all the children inside the school, but you know children eager and they seeing cars coming and they want their parents come fast. They had some children who, the best way I could describe it is they leak out onto the pavement, right? They leaked out onto the pavement. And about 5-6 of them on the government pavement, waiting for the thing with their parents with their hand, the school, what is called this thing, the lunch kit and their backpack. And that is something where in today's society, unfortunately, the children are at risk by doing that. You can't do that. This is not the era of Trinidad's development to take them kind of. When we were small, we used to do that. We used to walk home from school. As a matter of fact, we didn't used to walk home from school. We used to walk and stray all about until we reach home and we were safe. This is not the time now for children to be hanging around outside of school. And I saw a teacher who was leaving the school. And the teacher say, hey, what are you doing out here? This is the place to wait for your parents. Go back inside. I think we underestimate the contribution that teachers make to schools. Because I hear people when they say, you know, again, the school that my son go in might not be reflective of all the schools in the country, but I want to acknowledge them regardless. Because you see me, when the bell ring, what time are you supposed to finish work? 3 o'clock? I gone. Let me tell you something, boy. You see me? I cannot teach in no school. Primary school, secondary school, nothing. I cannot do it. I could only teach adults. Because when I come out, I'll give you an example, right? When we used to lecture in person, and I talking about a subject, and I say, right, class, marketing is about this, and this is what market is defined as of your buyers and sellers. And when I watching in this direction, and I see two people talking, you know, you're doing a class sometimes when people talking. When I see them talking, I just turn so and talk to other people who talking. And if them talking to, I turn in the back and I see who, I use that fella I used to lecture. As soon as I start to lecture in the morning, I say, all right, guys, let's get started. That man used to so. Like, I don't know what it is about my voice was so sweet to put a man to sleep every Saturday morning. And while he's snoring, I just turn so on me. I playing like me here and he's snoring because I had to lecture from 9 to 12 and that I shall do. I not studying who talking, who coming late, who submit. That is not my concern. I could lecture at that level. Because if I was in primary school level, when I come out my class at 3 o'clock, I walk in with my eye closed. I like Ray Charles leaving. I don't see all the children. All on the pavement, die the parents' problem. You know, when 3 o'clock come and I gone. So sometimes we forget what these teachers dealing with on a daily basis. Unfortunately, maybe it shouldn't be that way, but these teachers in schools, end up playing the role of babysitters a lot of times. I was talking to my son, first year teacher recently, salute Miss Daly from San Fernando Boys RC. And she was talking about these children being home for so long, because I didn't even think of this. When children leave kindergarten to come to school, they have some kind of basic training using the washroom, how to ask for permission, how to, some little basic things, how to interact with each other, how to speak up when you're making your points, or, the little basics of social interaction and what it takes to be in a class or in a school setting. And she got the first set of in-class students who come into our school for the first time after COVID. And listen, when you hear her describe what she had to deal with when she teaching these children, she said the children don't know how to make a line. These are things we take for granted all the time. She had to teach these children how to make a line, how to ask for permission to use the washroom, how not to wait too late, because they were in a world where they were home, they were by themselves, they weren't interacting with people and had to deal with anybody next to them or anybody who is physically in front of them in charge. And they're in a world where their parents was doing everything for them too. Any little thing you want, you had to do. She had to help people. She said when lunchtime come, she spent the first part of her lunchtime just opening water bottle for children. Open the bottle because they can't open it for themselves. They was getting everything done for them. So I don't know. Sometimes we forget what it is. I was really surprised at this Rosal thing. The focus of the thing should be why children had to be going through this in the first place. We must always stay at the roots of the thing. What the teacher do and so on. If I find it was weird, to be honest, because I'm not from the era where when anything happen, I will take out my phone. I just old, you understand? And the length of time it taking me with my blind self now to take out the phone and go through this and see what thing and find the camera, the action finish. I not good at that. But I do appreciate that younger people may tend to reach for the phone first. Like I saw people complaining about that in the States recently when Takeoff was killed, God bless his soul, from Migos. And it was something that people were complaining about, that somebody gets shot and the first thing all they want to do is take out all their phone and send it on social media. But you had to appreciate that there's an era of people, there's a group of people now who that is their first instinct. Well, my first instinct would be to, run if it's gunshot or something, or call police or whatever it might be. That's their first instinct. And when I watch these little children from Roselle School, we had to keep in mind that teacher who take that thing might be 22 years old, 21. That might be a young woman. And that's what her era knows as a response to things like that. Or if people saying that is happening all the time and them accustomed to gunshots and things, well, thank God she take a video and she let the rest of the world know what's be happening in that school. Maybe it will light a fire under those who have the decisions to make and the authority to make those decisions to start moving. And keeping with what Jason Gordon was saying, this is one of the things he was saying in his address. He said that, listen, we in a world where we graduated into a world where the people who are in charge of the authorities, we don't have a safe Trinidad and Tobago. Is not there. And he was basically inspiring them to take control of that. They're coming into a unique time and it's a unique opportunity for them to take control of the society now and change the direction that the society is going in. So salute to UTT. Salute to Jason Gordon. Salute to Desmond Waite, of course. Doctor, how you say it? Dr. Archbishop Jason Gordon or Archbishop Dr. the great one Jason Gordon and Dr. Desmond Waite. Salute to them both. Yui is also doing the right thing, because I see, like, I don't know if it was a competition this week, because Yui made sure that they also gave, I guess it's graduation season, so the two schools will always come out with the graduates and the honorary PhDs at the same time. But I saw that they said Rosalind Gabriel, the great Rosalind Gabriel, was awarded a PhD from UWI as well. So UWI and UTT doing the right thing. I like where this is going. So from The Guardian a couple of days ago, veteran mass maker wants more done for the local art form. Carnival veteran Rosalind Gabriel is pleading with the younger generation to navigate towards building and developing the local art form. Gabriel made his comment on Friday after being awarded the Doctor of Letters, Doctor of Literature, by the University of the West Indies. Oh, sorry, it wasn't PhD, it's D.Litts. By the University of the West Indies for over 43 years of work and advocacy dedicated to the carnival industry. Rosalind Gabriel did not come from a traditional family of band leaders. She was given a gift that would allow her to bring beautiful creations to life in young masqueraders, said Professor Elizabeth Walcott Hackshaw. While accepting an honorary degree at UWI, Gabriel did not hold back questioning if enough is being done to keep Carnival alive. And if you have ever heard her speak, she is a real defender of the culture. And she's a defender of the culture and an attacker on anybody who is trying to come at this culture, if I could put it like that, right? She says we must ask ourselves this question: are we fulfilling our responsibility to the national festival, to our culture, to our country, to ensure that traditions of culture last forever? There's a question I want to come back to later on in this podcast. Let me repeat it, and I will probably repeat it a few times before we get out of here today. We must ask ourselves, are we fulfilling our responsibility to our national festival, to our culture, to our country, to ensure that the traditions of our carnival last forever? One of the most powerful questions I hear from last time from somebody who is always eloquent and on top of it. She went on to say, if this institution could initiate a certificate course in mass design, she says she's aware of a carnival studies program, but it would be tremendous benefit to have future collaborations between UE and TTCM in the area of carnival arts and entrepreneurship. She said, I agonized and stressed and prayed over this decision as this was serious business to me. I always defend and protect carnival community against injustice as long as God gives me life. That's just who she is. That's just who she is, as I say. Real defender and real attacker when it comes to the culture, you know. So just for some of her accolades, title Band of the Year 20 times. Queen of Carnival 10 times. Large Band of the Year first place 18 times. So, I mean, legendary status. And this is what I would love to see more of. People like them come to the forefront, because we have to keep in mind that while these people are the defenders, the beacon holders, the ones who have carried the culture to a point and defending it now, we also have to be able to honor and revere them while they are still here, not after they're gone. And then we come to bring flowers for them, give them the flowers while they're here. And let us identify the ones who are going to carry that torch and next step so that it goes on, it lives on. Remember the question she asked? We will come back to it, isn't it? A powerful question. So salute to Yui and salute to Rosalind Gabriel. And among the names that came up as one of the recipients of the PhD is the great Lord Nelson. Now, I had to tell you, the first thing I went to when I hear Lord Nelson was given his PhD by UE. And of course, salute to them, and I'm glad that they did it, and we need to see more of that. But I heard that he performed. And I tell myself, listen, Lord Nelson is one of the greatest to ever do it. Anybody who listening to this for any time know how I feel about him, how I feel about his songs, his range, his versatility, who he is, his conviction in the way he speaks, the serious manner. He's such a gentle person, but in a serious way. You know how I feel about him already. The first thing that comes to my mind is, if Lord Nelson performed and he don't take off that gong the way he take off every other shirt he have on, I done listen to Lord Nelson. I don't want to hear no more Nello again. I say I wash my hand of him. And true to form, by the time I watch it for a good while and I say, nah, he ain't gonna do it, you know what I mean? With respect to the university and them kind of thing, he ain't gonna do it. But true to form, by the time he reach the end of the performance, you ever see one of them men, when they jump out of a plane and the parachute wrap up around them and they had to do the emergency parachute? That is how Lord Nelson wrap up the UE gong around him. I want to go back and study something so I could wrap up my gong around myself like Lord Nelson and whine on the stage, and the people think, anybody who ever graduate from anywhere, you know how long is wait to reach that stage for them to call your name, and I have a whole double barrel name, they bound to call it wrong. And you walk across and say, one man shake your hand, he done shake about 200 hand already, so nothing special about you. He shake your hand, and next one hand, he has a certificate, and then you cut. You wait 3-4 hours in a graduation ceremony to pass for 1 minute. I remember my mother and father asking me after the graduation ceremony to say, you hear how much noise we make here from it? I said, but me hear nothing. I didn't hear nothing. I also remember when Stacey was graduating from UTT, me and Zachary make noise in the back. She hear me. To the point where I make so much noise, I thought she would have turned and watch me. When she come up, she said, boy, me hear nothing. When you crossing that stage, that's such a blur after 3 or 4 years of hard work. But after a career of hard work, great hits, epic performances, epic collaborations, to go up there and receive your award and be true to yourself is one of the greatest things I have ever seen. And I just had to play this. Again, a blast from the past, right? One that you might have never heard. Or if you know Kaiso, you're gonna know this.
Go, sir. Give it. Give it up.
If the man get a PhD, we have to get this, right?
You have no defense, whether young or old. If your blood not cold, you could do the scroll.
Yes.
The scroll would help you on one you must. Your daily strain and your razzle dazzle. Put your hand on your partner's shoulder. Walk up your waist as you come together. It's calypso regular in our soul. Let yourself unroll when you do the scroll. You could rock and roll him. He could twist and turn shit and walk up your belly. Shake yourself. Feel yourself. Let go. Gimme. 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 Move your hand. Shake your waist. Well, if you feel you don't want to hold your partner, he dancing cold and you come to pleasure. Simply back way and do your own thing. Comfort yourself with whatever pleasing. You could rip it up, you could shake it up, you could rough it up, you could bump it up. It's whatever groove satisfy your soul. Hold on a hole, anything is scroll. You could left, right, you could belly to belly, you could back to back. All that. Watch your ankle. Give it up. Give me. Give me. Give me waist now. Shake your foot.
Dr. Nello.
Groove in time, jump and whine. Let the music captivate your mind. Shake your thing, do you do? Just let the sweet vibration come true. You couldn't do it up, you could shake it down. You could make it stop and spin it around. I could make you merry as old King Cole. If you let me scroll, overtake your soul. You could jump and turn, spin round and round. Shake that, roll back, all that. Give it up, give me.
Salute to the great Dr. Lord Nelson. Where say Lord Dr. Nelson or Dr. Lord Nelson? Like in your scroll, your PhD. Salute to the University of the West Indies. I like what you're doing the right things. Salute to UTT, all you're doing the right things. But it would be remiss of me to talk about Lord Nelson. And you had to play this, right?
This is Caribbean Vibes.
La la.
La 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 la.
La 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 la. La 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 la. Ayo. La la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. Don't rhyme but sing it so. All you really have to know, sing the chorus as you go. When you really get the beat, good Lord, just stand to track your feet. And you must get the swing just as long as you sing. La la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ayo. La 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 la.
You gotta listen to the Iron Man good enough here.
Jamba. Roll your waist, man, jamba. Tell the tale when you jamba. It's not that way that you jamba. No, you could put your two hands akimbo. Rock your body to and fro. Bring your hand up to your chest. Let your waistline do the rest. When you really get this song, man, you whine until you touch the ground. Then you jump and you spin. But remember to sing. La la. La 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 la.
talking about Lala, right? They say Lala Anthony was a masquerader for Halloween, and Trinis are livid. People upset. I confusing. While people upset, I very confused. Let me read the thing the way the people are buying it and are selling it same price. I ain't adding on nothing, I ain't taking away nothing because I was confused. Lala Anthony was a masquerader for Halloween and Trinis are livid. Carnival tribe comes under fire. This is from eBuzz TT. And let me see if we could get to the bottom of this. While for major mass producer Carnival Tribe, the optics surrounded international celebrity Lala Anthony donning a carnival costume for Halloween may have seemed great, many of Trinidad and Tobago's nationals did not seem to share those sentiments. Quote, never been to Carnival, so I brought Carnival to me, wrote Lala beneath her photo she shared of herself on Sunday ahead of Halloween. Halloween was just in, well, I was going to say Halloween was in the States, but apparently Halloween is global now, you know what I mean? Because I see which part I live in here. They send out a Halloween thing and they send a route listing. So anybody want to participate in Halloween, the trend in the area will come by you and eat the sweets, and you know what I mean? I remember when I tried a Now movie in this area. This time, all I have in my house is a couple little Rubbermaid chair and my fridge and thing, and nothing to cook, nothing. And I spread a little sheet on the ground to sleep, and I'm a little TV. That's all I have, you know. And while I looking to catch a sleep, after I need some leftover Chinese, I hear him children outside, trick or treat, trick. But I turn off my light and then I get so low so fast. Me and nothing in my house but some old Chinese food to get these children. But apparently Hollywood is a, what do you call it? Halloween is a global thing now, and we're celebrating it in Trinidad too. But Lala was celebrating it over there. And Tribe made her what to me look like any tribe costume. I wonder if they give her the one with them and the designer fall out and the designer cuss them up and say they're too wicked and thing. And they only pay them like $3,500. I wonder if this is what they get Lala. Who designed this? Because Tribe don't design nothing, right? But we go get to the bottom of that. Let me read the thing. I tell all they are buying and selling same price. I don't want to add in nothing, right? A feathery, dazzling costume showed off the curves of American TV personality. But despite the beauty, many commented shrewdly, arguing that Anthony had chosen the culture of Trinidad and Tobago as a Halloween costume and citing cultural appropriation. Tribe Carnival, obviously unbothered by social media influencers' post, took the opportunity to invite Lala to TNT for Carnival. You need to come to Trinidad for Carnival, their post read, followed up with 4 fire emojis and a Trinidad and Tobago flags. Anthony did not respond, however, Tribe would soon be called out by some Trinbagonians in the comments. First, we don't know if Anthony responded, right? Just say she didn't respond in the comments. Clearly, Tribe and Anthony have some kind of relationship for her to get that costume in the first place, right? So we don't know if she responded, right? That might be a better way to say that. But the comment section, which is always the greatest thing to look at, it said, this is very disrespectful to our culture. Do you even know the significance of our carnival and our costumes? She talking about the significance of this one or Lala wear. All right, okay, let me just, I want to sell this how I buy it. Another person channeled their disdain and to what the mass band saying. Carnival Tribe, y'all are so expletive thirsty. Instead of trying to inform her that a carnival costume should not be used for Halloween, y'all over here begging for invite. Y'all should be ashamed. All right, let me keep reading. I don't want no problems. I just want to read what they say in eBuzz, right? In June 2021, I'm glad they talk about this because I was going to get there. In June 2021, Black Panther actor Michael B. Jordan was criticized heavily after he labeled his rum Juve rum. He was also accused of cultural appropriation, with Trinidad and Tobago's nationals condemning the actor for his team and this move. Now, again, I want to ask the same question that I asked when Michael B. Jordan had to swiftly change his name from Juve rum and disassociate himself with any connection to Trinidad and Tobago. And he and his investors had to do that because the uproar was so loud and the blowback was so hot from this woke and informed generation, right? I shouldn't be laughing at this because I was very surprised when I see Lala had the costume. Now, if anybody don't know, Lala Anthony was married to Carmelo Anthony, right? So the first thing I tell myself when I see this is, I know they divorced and thing, and now she have a little Trinidad connection. I wonder if she got married like Patrick KK James, or you know what I mean? What was Patrick KK name? Joseph or James? Or Pompey Julian? What are the basketballers we have that she could have married? I tell myself, well, we local basketballers here have a little chance because if she like basketballers, but see in her interview recently saying she ain't going with no basketballers again. But she said the NBA. She didn't really say basketballers. She said she ain't going to no NBA people again. So maybe our local NFM basketballers have a little chance with Lala in the tribe costume. Me and no people so vexed that she wearing a costume for Halloween. Let me address a few things. Number one, I do not see how our people here could have an issue with Lala dressing up as anything in Carnival for Halloween because it's Halloween and that is them festival and they could dress as whatever character they feel to dress up as. And let us not forget where Carnival come from. Of course, Carnival was a deeply spiritual thing to most of us, although we don't treat it this way. And typically the people who play in costumes resembling the one that Lala played, them don't know the history of Carnival neither. Tribe had to bring out a whole next band for people who interested more in the history and the roots of Carnival by the name of Lost Tribe, right? So let us not pretend that the beads and feathers mass is a part of our culture. Yes, I don't want to take anything away from them, and I don't have any issue with it. I kind of like it, especially on Lala. But let us not forget that is only a small part of what our Carnival represents and is a small part of where our Carnival came from. But our Carnival was born out of people playing characters. It is people playing characters that make up the heart and the soul of Carnival. Yes, it rooted in something, and yes, they have good reason for it. But why somebody who not from here mustn't participate in it? What do you want them to do? Rosalind Gabriel have a museum, a Carnival museum that she heading up. What all they want? They only want them to go through a university course by Rosalind Gabriel first before they could play a mass. Anybody should be able to play a mass. A part of the culture of Carnival is a certain openness, a certain welcoming to everybody who would have struggled in the same way and come out to celebrate. You know what I mean? For everybody who are fast to break. I don't know when since we get so. It's almost like, you know, we have a little egg, a little suckling, a little, what's called a baby bird? A birdette? What's called a baby bird? A chick? We want to squeeze what we have so tight and protect it in all the wrong ways, when in fact the way to protect it is to let it go and let it grow and let it go in different places and so on. I want to go back to Rosalind Gabriel's question, you know. Are we fulfilling our responsibility to our national festival, to our culture, to our country, to ensure that the traditions of our culture last forever? Such a powerful question in the context of this Lala thing. What it have that Lala could take away from our culture? Lala cannot take away anything from our culture. She cannot. No matter what she do. She could dress up in whatever costume. I wonder if she had dressed up as a peregrinade. I forget anyone in the big bottom. I wish she had dressed up as that. I wonder if we'd have such a problem with that. Because a lot of the people who responding to this, they see that costume that Lala wearing as the whole of Carnival. That is what Carnival is. And it is not. It's really a small part of the Carnival. So I wonder if Rosalind Gabriel, Lala had put on one of the more traditional masquerader thing. If she had dressed up as a Muko Jambi for Carnival as well, but wait, they might have go crazy. Or if they would have noticed at all. But I seem to remember one of the greatest contributors to Carnival ever, a man by the name of Peter Minshall, taking elements of our Carnival and putting it in, was it Seoul in Korea? In opening ceremonies for the Olympics for sure. I think I remember the World Games as well. And putting our culture on the global stage for other people to see and enjoy and marvel at and even pretend to be like. Why? I don't understand why we have such a problem with this. She pretending to be like us. She chose to do this. Why not look at opportunities for how we can use this to our benefit? Use the little exposure to our benefit. It's like some of these people who say this. I wonder if them would keep Dwight Yoakam and say, Aston Villa can't, and Manchester United can't appropriate our Tobagonian culture. You have to play here. You have to play for Signal Hill forever. To protect something sometimes, you have to let it go. You understand? There's nothing that Lala or Tribe could do to take away anything from our culture. It is impossible. I want to ask this question again from Rosalind Gabriel. Great. Are we fulfilling our responsibility? Not them, no. She didn't say, are they? She said, are we fulfilling our responsibility to our national festival, to our culture, to our country, to ensure that the traditions of our culture last forever. And until we could answer that question in a serious way, as individuals, I ain't talking about no government, I ain't talking about no mass maker, I ain't talking about anybody, I'm talking about as individuals. Until we could answer that question, I don't see what we could do about Lala wearing a costume, and why do we continue to use social media for 2 minutes of a reaction for something that you don't genuinely care about. You do not care about it. You only care about this when it's time to buy a costume in August and when it's time to get a plane ticket to come home, because I want to believe the people responding to this is the Trinis living abroad. And I understand that the person who living abroad it might be even more territorial about Trinidad and Tobago culture than ours, but we must remember that for something to grow, it wants air, it wants water. You cannot stifle it and expect it to grow at the same time. Our culture is so multidimensional. Why we always feel one person could take it because they have some celebrity status, that does nothing to us. And instead of looking at what it does to us, sometimes you have to step back and look at what it can do for us. Because if, again, I'm going back to the Juve thing, if you love Juve so much, going back to the Rosalind Gabriel question, that anybody who use it anywhere must be immediately shut down from using it. They had to get the Kanye treatment and go and name it somewhere else. Where is the copyright, the patent, the whatever the things are to protect ourselves in intellectual protection, so that anybody who wants to use it could use it, but we have a say over how you use it because it's sacred to us, and we have a say over how we benefit when you use it. But we don't have that, because the answer to Rosalind Gabriel's question is no. We're not fulfilling our responsibility to do these things and our responsibility to our culture. The answer is a strong no. So then what it is we worried about, so when somebody else pick it up and do something different with it, or use it for another festival abroad, I just find that so I was really very surprised that that people were so upset about this. Lala wear I find Lala look good. As a matter of fact, I find Lala look good. And Lala single in these streets, you know what I mean? So why she mustn't wear a costume? And why would Tribe, as a profit-making entity, a business, when I went business school, one of the first things they teach me is that the purpose of a business is to make money. It is important that businesses make money, because if businesses don't make money, all this set of talk, you notice all the thing Rosalind Gabriel spoke about in her speech, entrepreneurship was what at the core of what she was saying. So she has contributed a lot to the culture, won a lot of titles and so on, but she's cognizant of the fact that entrepreneurship is what will keep it going. If you sit down and you wait on the government, let me forget the government. If you wait on anybody else to help you contribute to your success, you're probably not going to be a success. You got to go out and work for what you want in here. Wherever you identify that you want to be, you are to put in the work to get there. Whether it's business, is fitness, is whatever it is, what you put into something is what you will get out. So I don't understand why people vex to try. The woman wanted a costume to portray her Halloween thing or whatever she wanted to do, because the Halloween thing is not about going door to door again. For them, at their level, it's nice for children to do, right? But for the grown-ups, it's about it's a competition. It's almost like a PR thing for them as individuals, because Diddy was Joker. Diddy had the greatest costume I see in a while. Diddy was the real Joker. Want to fight people on the streets and stopping traffic in the road, and you know what I mean. I think it was Heidi Klum who dressed up as a big worm from Men in Black. Who again? What was the other costumes we saw where people do a good job? The celebrities seem to have a little competition among themselves for who could do the best costume. Kevin Hart with his short self was Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. So them just it's not about appropriating, because she's taking this thing for her own benefit and she's a culture vulture, and I don't know what all this is about. The woman just dress up in her costume. Them feathers and them beads or whatever it is they make, that is the least representation of Carnival that can be found. That is not what Carnival is. So them coming to take something or use something could never take away anything from our culture. Take away what? Nothing could change our legacy. Our legacy is there forever. I also heard Rachel Price. No, I would admit, right, that while I talk a lot of things on this podcast and I call a lot of names and make jokes about people while, it have some people I don't play with, right? And some names I don't call because when them start to talk about you, I tell them only once my name end up in certain people's mouth, there's no more podcast. I done. I retire immediately. I'm deleting all the old episodes. I'm not playing them games. So I want to be very careful with this topic because it has some people when they start a cuss, they're not finishing. And coincidentally, 2 of them people wasn't alive this week, and I couldn't venture very, very carefully to talk about them, right? But Rachel Price made such a good point this week where people talking about Halloween and this and that, and they're against this and well, she wasn't talking about the cultural appropriation part, right? She was just talking about us celebrating Halloween here and children coming by her to ask for sweets and all them things. She said her daughter switch off the lights and things because she shame because Rachel said she ain't carrying out no sweets for the little children. And she asked such an important question. She said, wait, these people in Trinidad and Tobago, our people, the same people who saying they don't eat prayers food and then eating them thing by them people and who just take their thing for manners and then throw it away because they pray on the food and say, these people sending their children by people to ask for sweets for Halloween. I thought we don't like nobody and we don't like prayers thing. Wait, because Hershey's and them put it in a pack and call it Twix. It's no thing. It's the gulab jamun and the barfi and thing. Well, send all by me. I eating all pressed food. Any amount of pressed food. I don't care what the hell you pray over. Because as far as I know, you could be Christian, you could be what? Everybody does pray over their food. Everybody. All while there's grace before meals. But I remember being in Victory Heights up in camp, church camp in the days. When you saying grace before meals, and I know you such a devout Christian that your head bow and your eye closed, I drink in your Milo. I drinking out a man Milo while he's saying grace before meals. Who would have that don't pray over meals? It's such a common thing. To me, no when since we so frightened to eat from one another. Just I talking to my mother about that in St. James. Eating from people is a problem. I lining up outside your house long to get on that duality. I don't care. I eating wherever you bring. You understand me? These same people, we are the same people who say press food and you don't think and you don't want nobody get sweets, so you stay inside for the while you don't go. We now comfortable with going and taking candy from strangers just so Rachel Price makes such a good point there. And I was even watching a video on Instagram the other day. It is in the States though, with you see like Reese's Reese's cups and some other things. And somebody giving the children it and like the mother noticed that something was wrong with the pack, like it's had a little hole. Only to realize it's some kind of pin or some little metal thing that they put in anything. People so wicked. But all of a sudden we trust with neighbors and them kind of things. So, girl Lala, you look good. I hope we have a few basketballers down here that are very, very good. You know what I mean? That are very, very good basketballers down here that you might want to interest yourself in. You know what I mean? You could get yourself a little Patrick Keke Joseph. You know what I mean? Why not? And that could be a new. He wouldn't do you like how Carmelo do you. And salute to Tribe too for inviting her to Carnival. I hope she come for Carnival. I hope we are the most amount of celebrity here for Carnival because the more exposure we get is the better for we. Now, as I done talk about Rachel Price, right, I just want to make a quick point. I don't want to, again, I'd be very nervous in some spaces, right? But I saw Rachel Price as a solidified veteran comedian. Nobody can dispute this because when I did a month on the Calypso tent, I remember talking about people like Rachel Price as being an integral part of the Calypso tent because they carried the show. It wasn't just about the Calypsonians. It is so difficult, I feel, to be a host in a space like a Calypso tent where you have 15, 20 Calypsonians singing a whole song. You coming on in between to either bring back on encore, keep the crowd interested, bring on the next man in ready, you have to talk and make some joke for a while, bring back people, intermission, you come back out again. You introduce, you back up the crowd and you do that for the whole night and close the show. The MC in the tent is one of the hardest working jobs that they would have had. Salute to the backup singers as well and the band. But it's some of the hardest working jobs they will have. And Rachel Price was one of the MCs in the tent for a long time. She's not today person. Only people watching Rachel Price on social media and feel that is who she is. That is one small dimension or one small part of what Rachel Price is. Rachel Price is a legend. Or even the people watching Katang or hearing her when she was on the morning show. Rachel Price is a comedian in real life. An MC in real life. That is not easy to do. And this is something that I saw going on in the States as well, because I remember solidified and people who do the comedy circuit in the States, like do comedy clubs, build a bits, do specials, host shows. they were complaining a lot about people who were social media comedians or comics who would be doing skits on social media. Like I remember Just Hilarious being one of these people that people are saying, you ain't no real comedian, you're getting on Instagram with that 2-minute clip, whether it work or not, you do that often enough, and all of a sudden you're classing yourself with comedians. And she was making this point about NCW, right? She didn't call no name, but I go call name because I feel it's NCW she talking about. And I'm glad NCW didn't respond because he's a man is trip off to when he ready, you know. He have all kind of different videos he's do. Because he having normal videos where he's do, God, look at this one and that. He's funny, right? And then he have some other videos when he walking through Blue Basin and thing. He's have a whole different personality. Hi, Trinidad and Tobago. You also my beautiful people in Trinidad. I just want to say it, Blue Basin, and just a good morning to everybody. And you know what I mean? Yeah, he has some different moods that he's going through on social media. But one of his moods is the Mako and Hush mood, which is the name of the show, right? Salute to Mako and Hush. One of the moods is, oh God, Mako and Hush, I'm blocking all you come to talk about me. He's a man is trip off and people bad talk him. He quick to block people and thing. And I want to continue to enjoy NCW comedy and his jokes and his skits and whatever he's do. So I don't want to say nothing when nobody block me. And I'll create a fake account now to enjoy myself on NCW, right? But I understand where Rachel Price coming from, and I see Fireball talking about this too. Because when you put in the work over the years for a craft, according to Rachel Price, you're interfering with the art when you call yourself a comedian. She said the man never hold a mic for 5 minutes. I will say that compared to Rachel Price, very few people have ever hold a mic for 5 minutes. Compared to Rachel Price, she's solidified. Let me call some names, right? John Agitation, Sprang Alang, Tommy Joseph, Larry Joseph, Errol Fabian, among many, many more that we've had here. Could I say Paul Keynes Douglas too? I don't want to put him as a comedian if he wasn't that, but definitely a storyteller and somebody who could hold our audience for long periods of time. I see Larry Joseph in Cascadia one time play a dog for about a half hour and have people they cannot control themselves. The late great Sprang Alang. I see even when he passed away and they went to his funeral, the man who he was heckling in that famous YouTube video come the man funeral because he said the man make him a star when he heckle him like that. You know what I mean? He go horse teeth and all kind of thing, you know? A comedian is a hard job. The first thing I ever wanted to do in my life, the first thing I ever remember vocalizing that I wanted to do as a career was a stand-up comedian. I love it. I watch all stand-up comedians. It's something that I love. And I feel like it is enormously difficult. I will say this. Making people laugh might be easier than telling people, come and pay me and come and sit down here. And my purpose when I come on the stage, solo mio, is to make you laugh. People, I see Trini. When you say that and Trini come there, them coming not to laugh. Pick up Trinidad and Tobago, it's the greatest country in it. But if you tell them, you coming to make them laugh, them coming to not laugh and to boo. So it's such a hard job that Rachel Price and them doing. And it is, I feel like it's very, very different. What can I say social media comedians comedians who come out of social media or build their craft on social media rather than build it on a stage, it is two different muscles you exercise and very, very different. But what I will say is this. I salute, while I understand where Rachel Price coming from, I salute NCW for doing what he's doing. Because the people who NCW put on there, I don't know the fella's name, right? But he's make videos on TikTok. And the fella kind of he want to look kind of Indianish. He has some big eyes and much taller than I thought and much more eloquent than I thought too. You know what I mean? I don't know his name, but it's just TikTok's funny. Swizzle Stick is funny. Swizzle Stick is a character. He's funny. I don't think he could do what Rachel Price does. He might need a lot of years practice and so on. But he could entertain on social media and in person. He's funny. I watched him on NCW and Tobago Carnival and they was funny. Matara French is a legend. Matara name is French. Matara is a legend. My son, every now and again in the house, he's just blurt out, your skin ain't clean. And I understand that she being herself or what I would call tripping off on social media on somebody for our entertainment. Thank God she does that. It's great. But it is not the same as going and hold a mic on a stage and entertain people like that. Who else on the show that I'm missing there? Jamel the Entertainer. I think I don't know all the names. But I salute NCW for doing this because it taking some initiative. It's so easy to show up on social media and do things, and so hard to turn that into a business. It is very difficult to monetize anything you do on social media. And the fact that the man having sold out shows when Mako and Hush, I remember Mako and Hush being something that he spoke about when he was talking about somebody seeing something about where he was. I don't want to get this wrong, right? But I think somebody was saying something about seeing NCW going on the vaccination site when he was very much anti-vax and them kind of thing, right? Or I think it was, they said that the place he worked in, he went back out to work and everybody knew that to go back to work, you had to be vaccinated. So people was kind of saying, hey, so wait, you are your ministry thing and you going back to work, but you're telling me don't get vaccinated. I want to believe that is where it come from. And is he naturally on social media going in the argument mode, telling people, well, Mako and Hush, else like again block. And he take that Mako and Hush, now he turn that into Jersey, monetizing that. He turned it into a show, monetizing that. And I think you had to give him some respect too, because he didn't just take a show and sell it out and come and just say the same things he do on social media, or encourage Matara and them to just come and say, you can't do this on a boat ride. But I saw him, I think I talked about it a few weeks ago too. I saw him doing some training with somebody who seemed to be in theater to come up with, to help them with a rhythm exercise. Now, I'll tell you this, right? I watched that thing with that rhythm exercise they were doing at least 100 times. I've never seen anything so funny in my life, because the squad he have there doing this thing, this is a bottle. A what? A bottle. A what? A bottle. Oh, a bottle. This is a pen. A what? A pen. Oh, that is a little rhythm exercise that's given. So when it go wrong in his circle, what he's do is he's hear everything go into a beat, right? He didn't bong to do that. His show went and sell out anyway. So the fact that he pulled together some people on social media and decide to elevate them, pay them for doing something, you know what I mean? And then help them to nurture their craft. It seems to be like he willing to build a bigger product than just himself or the little comedy that they provide for us, which was so valuable during the pandemic. And even more valuable now as we come back out in the space. I believe Kivo might be one of the hosts too. Kivo is very, very funny. As a matter of fact, Kivo is the reason I don't cuss on this podcast, because to be honest with you, I find everything I say funnier when I cuss. But I remember seeing Kivo do a video one time, and he say when he tried to do comedy for the first time, he do something and he bongs to cuss, and the mother say, well, this is the best you could put out into the world if you're doing that, and this is the best you could do. And he say from then he decided not to cuss. And I study how my mother might be watching and listening too. I didn't expect her to listen to every episode. I tell myself she go listen to about 10, and then I go start to cuss a while. But she ain't missing an episode so I could cuss in peace. And you know what I mean? I have family and things. Listen, I don't like it. I rather not, right? If you want to see my cuss, come in person. When I make my own show, come in person, you hear my cuss. Then I know I can't let my mother and my aunt and them come in, right? I could cuss free. But I find there's space for everybody to make money and for everybody to make their own part. And while, yes, in the true sense of the word, he's not a comedian, or even if he's a comedian, he cannot match up to Rachel Price at this point in his career, because Rachel Price is 30 years solid, at least, I believe. I don't want to date her age or anything like that. It will be disrespectful, but I especially don't want to be disrespectful. Right? I don't want my name called up in nothing. I want to be peaceful. But she's absolutely a legend. Nobody, it just comes just like Lala and our carnival and our culture. There's nothing that NCW and Matara and them could do that could take anything away from Rachel Price. Rachel Price is a legend, solidified. Very few people in the world could do what Rachel Price does. So I say leave everybody with space to make their own part, man, and do their own thing, you know. And I also think that we as a people, as black people now, we have to be careful about how we speak about other people who have a business. We have to be more mindful of that, because it is very difficult for us as a people to form businesses. I'm going back to this 1% thing, right? We talk about 1% as if the 1% is a race. The 1% is not no race. The 1% argument came out of him saying that we are 1% of the people in terms of the population, right? Syrians. But he said they are also the most powerful 1%. That is where the 1% argument came from. Why did he say they're the most powerful 1%? Because they own the biggest businesses in the country. That is not a fixed thing. I want you to remember that long before it had Ansa Makal and Nilan Masi and things, they had bigger business. They had Kupalani and people. There were big businesses here before. If you look at the States, right? And you hear the biggest names in business now. You would hear Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. These would be the biggest names in business over there now. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was somebody else. So if you hear Jay-Z and them rapping about Rockefeller, who would have been the big man many, many decades before. So what I'm saying is, the people who earn the top 1% of incomes in the country change. There's nothing stopping us. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There's plenty in our way, right? There's plenty in our way from us becoming the 1%. But there's nothing stopping us from doing it. And we could work to the point where, why it can't be Corey McCall? I don't buy into these things now. I tell you see my intention with business and life and thing. I want to be in the 1%. I working towards being enormously wealthy for generations so that people who come after me don't have to worry about money. They could work on whatever they want to work on. That's my goal. I don't know what's yours, but that's my goal. But and for that reason, I am very conscious of how I talk about people with their business ventures. You know, they have some people who say things, and I hear it loud and clear. When they're talking about, oh, you're still doing your little business, or you still have a little thing going. You see them little words, I try not to let it irritate more, let it bother me too much. Oh, you're still doing your little podcast? I just listen to it now and I just absorb it. Because I feel like things like that is trying to diminish or belittle what I have. Because while what you see is something that does not make any money or are struggling to get by or whatever it is, you might see that on the outside, but you don't know the vision I have in my head and how this thing will become one of the greatest things that was ever done. You know what I mean? You don't see that. So when a man was riding around selling clothes, you could say what you want about him. Nobody would have taken him seriously if he say, I will have the biggest conglomerates in the Caribbean. Nobody will take you seriously. When a man was riding around selling barra, and they started moving from single barra to double barra, and the products started to become doubles. When he was riding around doing that, nobody would have said that every corner in the country go have a doubles man. And I go be the number one name in doubles, and my family name will live on forever. Nobody go believe you when you say you frying chicken, that you go create something named Japs that will become nationwide. A vision is a vision. A man had to start somewhere. So when I saw what NCW was doing, it hurt me to see her response to it, because this is just a black man doing a business and involving other people and helping other people develop. And I think we should always find ways to applaud that. You know what I mean? And I want to get to Tobago Carnival as well, because I saw another version of that in Tobago Carnival where it seemed to be Trinidad Killa versus Voice and his crew. I don't like to see that. You know, I like little kankalang and little bacchanal, if you're being honest. I like little lacquery. But I don't like to see when men cry down other people's businesses like that. We need businesses. We need us in positions. I talked about it last week with Kanye West. Our cancel culture is to stop buying from people, which is fine. But the only reason, because all our power is in our consumer spending. Whereas you say something anti-Semitic. You see how much Kyrie Irving had to answer question now? Because the Jewish community not playing them games, and their power is in ownership. So if you say things about them that they're uncomfortable with, or do things to them that they're uncomfortable with, it can severely affect your ability to do business in several different spaces, particularly in the US. We don't have that yet, but we need that. You understand? We need to have more power. We need to have more power over our destiny, not power over any other race or any other people. We just need to have more power over our destination, our destiny. When you look around and you look at the crime situation, it's only one race of people killing one race of people. When you look at the people who have to lie down in a school because gunshot firing, is only one race of people. The government not going to help with. Nobody not going to help with. So one of the ways for us to help ourselves is to have people like us who care about us and see us differently. And I want us to get away from this thing where we can't talk about race too. It is very natural for people to go back to tribal days, right? When nobody didn't know nobody. You just used to live in your little space in the bush and you protect your own tribe. What used to happen when you see a next tribe member? That next tribe member dead. Because when you see somebody who don't look like you get frightened immediately. You think they come in to kill. So we got attacked before. So it is innate that we cling closer to the people who look like us and we protect the ones who look like us. I don't want to, not necessarily at anybody else's expense, but it's normal. So one of the ways we could look at ourselves differently is to start looking at ourselves differently. Why we can't support one another businesses, even if not by buying, by sharing, or tagging or whatsoever it might be, all them things is doing social media that me know how to do. Or even if you don't like it, just don't say nothing. Right? You understand? If you don't like a man, you don't like the business, don't bad talk the man business, because that's what he doing there could be the biggest thing. I watch Voice show in Tobago, Vibes with Voicey. I wanted to remember that come out during the pandemic. As far as I had known at that point in time, I would not call Voice a promoter. I know the mutes used to do the shows Voice, Second Star, Pretty, all them start doing their own shows and stuff. But Voice take that Vibes with Voicey, which again starts off with just Salty and Akeem coming on live, and then Voice and Penny and them coming through, and Pappy and everybody doing their thing. That all of a sudden it had thousands of viewers every Thursday night, and they turn that into a global business. I think you should always salute that. So somebody like Trinidad Killa coming to talk about them, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. That battling one another is not different to me than the ones who trying to shoot one another in the street. Only too early on a level where we should never do that. Don't talk about the man. What he do there, helping so many people, so many of us. When he puts on that show, or when he do Vibes with Voice, or when he perform, and it elevates us as a people as a whole. I would say the same about Akeem. Trinidad Killa do any business and thing, and he's not the easiest person, you know, because he's a lot, you know what I mean? He's a lot. Maybe he's a local Kanye. He pray for rain. He say some wicked things. So he say, I wish Tobago Carnival rain out because you ain't get no booking. Selfish, yes, we could say all them things, right? But don't bad talk the man little corn and pigtail business. But we shouldn't do that as people, as black people. We gotta be careful how we do it. That don't go and bad talk the man selling a little corn and pigtail. I can't remember what you call it. It's Killa Smokehouse, Trinidad Killa Smokehouse. I can't remember the name of the business, and I want to give it all the credits in the world. But if we could avoid doing that, I think we'll go much further. Because why would somebody not set up a little business for themselves, even though they are entertainer? Trini Style Smokehouse, I think that's the name of it. Why wouldn't somebody set themselves up? No, it's not Trini Style Smokehouse. That's in Londonville. I can't remember the name of the business. One day I will come here prepared and think, one day in the future, right? But the man is as an entertainer, whether he was on top of the world as an entertainer or he's struggling for bookings is inconsequential. The man setting up something that could be done post-career, build a brand for yourself. People seem to be liking the brand. I saw one of these foodies with Zach, or one of the food people went and reviewed him, and they said the corn and pigtail was selling out. They say people come to buy all different kind of things, but the corn and pigtail is what people had, to the point where they didn't leave to go there for that, but they end up buying corn and pigtail anyway because it was so good. I just am making an appeal to us. Don't cry down a man business. Don't laugh at that. A Voice all in a position of power, whether they like it or not. You know what I mean? All it doing good, and I glad to see it. Don't laugh and say the man corn and pigtail and two snubber pigtail and the corn. No, we can't afford to do that. Better you as Voice show up and buy some corn and pigtail by the man, and let me see you on social media buying it, and carry some of your influence to him so that he could elevate and come out of this thing. The more of us come out of, I don't want to call it poverty, yeah, but the more of us elevate ourselves, is the better it's going to be for all of us. Take my word for it now. We need some 1%ers in the mix. You get where I'm coming from? Now, let me get to Tobago Carnival, right? Because Tobago Carnival, I was glad to see that with saying all of that, one of my favorite moments in Tobago Carnival is watching Akeem. After all the talk and they think one another, Akeem was announcing Trinidad Killa as one of the greatest. I don't care if it was sarcastic. I see people say he's sarcastic and he this and that, and I don't care. That is why I want to see that kind of unity and that kind of love from them fellas. And of course, Trinidad Killa I find to be one of the better performers at this era. And he from a long time. And he come and he ripped the show and them things. So I was glad to see so many events went through. I'm glad everybody had a good time. Let me put a disclaimer here one time too, right? You see, me personally, I value a doer over a talker any day. Doing is, wait, I shouldn't say that because I talk here for so long every week. But a doer, this beat a talker any day. And Tobago Carnival was an idea just a while ago. And now they had the first one. You could say whatever you want about it. You could say it rained out, it badly planned, and then this and then that. I don't know why I feel our university system is caused this, because we have a thing there's teacher to do in UE, they call it critical analysis. And it's basically teach you to criticize everything and find all the faults in something. So when you find all the faults in a plan, you get an A. No, you don't get the A if you just find all the solutions and the things could be better, you know. But if you find all the flaws, you could real criticize. You have good critical skills, critical thinking. Okay, good. You keep your critical thinking because sometimes critical thinking is getting in the way of doing. Ask people who went to university all their life how much times they ever start a business, how much time they ever open something, how much time they ever get out of the mud, how much time they ever build something. And I'm not knocking them, I'm just saying that as somebody who went through the university system myself, it is difficult to do. Because what you end up doing is critically analyzing yourself out of starting the business. I call it analysis paralysis. Many of us who are university graduates suffer from it. But I find the events look good. Vibes with Voicey look good. Them fellas have the new wave, you know. At one point it was Marshall Monday and whatever the biggest event. When Carnival come next year and Vibes with Voicey put on her date, it's going to be the biggest show in Carnival. And I'm glad for them to see where they come from to get into this point now where they controlling the whole thing. I like that. You know what I mean? I hope they continue to build it. Burna Boy. And you only see Patrice and Burna Boy like they fall out. Patrice ain't like how Burna Boy come and steal she One thing with Patrice, when it's fight time, it's fight time. And remember the time she had to fight the girl with the man and she said, I think they good, you remember that? Well, apparently she had to go on a stage late in Dominica and she didn't like it. Because Burna Boy, some weird thing happened between Tobago, after he went Curacao and performed. And he was supposed to reach Dominica one day. Reach a day late, half his team was there, he wasn't there. And they had to move him to another day in the festival, which people in Dominica weren't pleased about. And apparently he never apologized when he do it. And you see, Burna Boy performance, Burna Boy really is the white hot artist in these times. I shouldn't say white, like the red hot artist in this time. And his song's really big. And when you see him perform and the whole crowd singing along with him is really a spectacle to see. But I think it would be wise to apologize for coming a day late, because that means people who had planned the night, Saturday night, who come out with their outfit and do their hair, they had to come back out, they had to get next outfit now for Sunday, I can't double back and all them things. And maybe the people who would have come to hear Soca and Patrice and them that night had to wait and hear Burna Boy. So that is kind of unprofessional, especially if you didn't apologize. So Patrice was upset. But Burna seemed to do a great job in Tobago. I was so glad that he gets to perform. No, I can't remember. Did I talk about this last week? Can't remember. But I'm glad that he gets to perform regardless of the rain. It looked very, very bad. People was in the raincoats and the umbrellas was up and they had men fighting in the mud wrestling and thing was going on in the Burna Boy show. But I mean, the organizers have plenty of work to do, because I don't know how you could bring the biggest artist in the world. According to Patrice, $3 million. Patrice forget she in the next country where the exchange rate is not the same. 500,000 US to perform, and you have him on Plymouth Recreation Grounds rather than Dwight York Stadium or places, big venues where you could sell out the venue. And I don't know. All them decisions was weird to me, but I value doing over talking. So the fact that they got Burna Boy, he came. Burna Boy seemed to be on a little bit like a Caribbean tour too. I didn't feel again 500,000. I feel Burna Boy doing a little diaspora type discount. It's not coincidence that he just running through the Caribbean like this on random nights, Thursday night and Friday night, and doing shows when he charging other people 500,000 US on private jets something. I feel he give you a diaspora discount and nobody didn't say nothing, but it come off. The people who remain seem to be real happy with the show, so salute to them. It looked as though that was going to be to set the tone for Tobago Carnival, but I find it didn't. The road looked real good. Everything was looking like it people had a good time. It looked a lot like Trinidad Carnival, with people on the truck watching down at people on them little drinks cart watching down at people. So I suppose they still end up with elements of Trinidad Carnival, although they wanted to make it their own. And I feel like they have a lot of ways to make it their own. I'm not sure. I could only go based on what I saw on social media. But I hope that a lot of the traditional elements of Tobago. So when you look at the, just a Tobago wedding, goat race on the road might be bad, but a Tobago wedding, the little jig, all them things might be nice, you know what I mean? The little tambran and little vibes. Well, I hope that those elements were incorporated, and if they weren't, that they end up being incorporated eventually. I saw Nadia Batson. I love Nadia Batson. Nadia Batson's spirit, just nice. And I think I get to like her more with Yellow Cow TV when she laugh and Miss Alicia and them laugh and Lana. It was such a nice thing to be able to connect with them in a different way, and also to see artists talk to one another. I hope they bring that back at some point. But it was so sad to see Nadia, who puts on a show, promote her own show, come in to apologize and basically in tears saying that they didn't know they would have postponed the show if they know it was all that rain and they had sun whole day and they decided to go ahead with the show. And then it rained out and people leave because they was upset. The thing started late because people didn't come into the venue. All these are reasons why I value a doer over a talker. Because I'll tell you from my own experience, right? The ideas you have in your head that you want to execute, you think that you want to refine them fully before you execute, but it's probably not true. Because even if you think you refine them fully, it takes long to do. And then when it takes so long, somebody else going to do your idea. Because you don't have no exclusive idea in this world. Somebody else has that same idea. And also, even when you think it's perfect in your mind, when you try to execute it, it is going to be flawed. It is going to be flawed no matter what you do. Like at that time, I went back and listened to the first episode of this podcast. I feel so ashamed. I was like, oh God. But you should feel proud, right? Because I come a long way from that first episode. And every time I do it, it's the greatest. And you know what I mean? Nobody people say it's come out every Tuesday, but sometimes not. But I hear doing it regardless. Regardless of what happened, they know it coming. And that doing refines things too. So I don't think Nadia should be so hard on herself. You will learn from this. Your service providers in Tobago will learn from it. It's the first one. It must have. What do you think they say teething problems? It's from a little baby when they teething, they go through pressure. But eventually you go all your teeth and if you go be missing like me and you go be fine too. So I think we had to go through these teething problems rather than talk about things forever and try to perfect it in our mind. And I hope Nadia continue to do a show. I'll tell you a story about something, right? One time I went to London, salute my girl Swazette and Rennie Popplewell. I want to salute Rennie Popplewell as well, right? Just a minute, right? Or just bear with me. Because Rennie Popplewell is a friend of mine and she will be on this podcast soon. And Rennie went and do a boxing match. It's the most impressive thing I've seen. About a week before the boxing match, I see Rennie take a capsize. It's like somebody swing a punch and Rennie just faint. She just fall back, bam. I was like, why is she doing this? But she went from no experience whatsoever to winning a whole boxing match. It's one of the greatest feats I've seen. So salute to Rennie. But I remember being in London, staying by Rennie with people like Swazette, people like Desiree, with a little squad from back in the day, right? We went for the World Cup and we stayed by Rennie in London before we go to Germany. And I remember meeting up with a cousin of mine by the name of Mark Patrick Russell, my guy. All right? And a few of us get together. And of course, you're in their tongue. Them fellas living in London, Rennie living over there and things. So they took us to a restaurant. And I excited because I don't know nothing about London. Everything looking brand new to me. I over there, I taking picture of normal building. Everything looking like a landmark to me. It's like, what? This is so beautiful. I just take a picture of normal building. And they carry me to this restaurant. The name of the restaurant is Wong Kai. Wongkei. I want you to Google them and see what they are known for. So Google what is Wong Kai restaurant in London known for. And all the things you will hear in school and in the classroom and in university will tell you that for a business to succeed, you must have a competitive advantage and you must have a unique selling proposition, right? This is something you teach in school all the time. So what makes you different? What makes you special? Another thing you will hear in business as well is the importance of customer service. Delighting your customer, wow your customer journey mapping, understanding who you. That is what they teach throughout all the school. But when you look up Wong Kai or you went to Wong Kai restaurants, you know what they're known for? You know what is their unique selling proposition? You know what is their competitive advantage? What makes them better? Bad service. They are known for very bad service. So here what happened to me when I go on in Wong Kai now. The fella is a nice looking restaurant. It wants to look like the place nice and you're in London, so you don't think everybody nice. And when you're walking, a bunch of people say, hi, and you know what I mean? And you get your table now. So I sit down with Mark and I say, all right, this place nice and everything. The man come now to take our order and thing. So I done sitting up to see, well, all right, what we go do? The menu looking thick. I ain't know what nothing. I ain't know how to pronounce nothing. This man proceeds to take a set of paper towels. Me ain't talking about the good double ply one always use home and all the people who use bounty and thing. I talk about the 10 ones. What they selling them Langston Roach hand dispenser thing. That man covered the whole table with them paper. Like he pull a roll. cover the whole table with paper towel. So I'm thinking, all right, this something ain't right here. This place looking nice, and Mark tell me this food so good and thing, but the man covered the thing with paper towel. Then you're calling a waiter, them ignoring you completely. I call one of them, I say, excuse me, he just passed straight. I say, but something ain't right. I watching Mark. I say, all right, but Mark from here. Mark living there. You know what it is. Then the fella come to take the order. Well, here now, by the time I see this, me want to order nothing, and I frightened. So I say, give me a little Cokes, yes? I say, I want Cokes. Because I know that coming in a seal thing. It's no paper towel wiping out, no Coke mouth. I want Coke in a can. Let me break the seal for myself and be sure that I break the seal. That man stoops like he from the Caribbean. When I say a Coke, that man sees so much of we sit down on the table, and I say, just bring a Coke. That man stoops, boy. And I say, well, who is this really? These people treating you bad, and they're talking to you rough, and they're answering you all how, and one of them bring a pot of tea. I guess the tea is eating in London, right? So you bring a pot of tea and a cup. I say, no thanks, I don't want tea. Hey, it's free. It's free. I say, why are these people treating me so bad? The point I'm trying to make here is, you see, when you have a business, you could build your competitive advantage on anything. If you figure out a theme of what makes you better, what makes you unique, you could build it on anything. If these people could build a restaurant based on bad service, of course they treat you bad and thing, but the food is excellent. And when you leave in the restaurants, everybody clapping and thing, because it's an act. It's an act. It's an attraction. That is what they use to get you there. I see Marshall doing a roast for his birthday. Well, let's see that. Salute to Marshall. And a roast is where you sit down there and you pay people to come and insult you and make joke off of you. It's an act. You know what I mean? The people really don't mean no ill will to you. See a major hype, Affy and Crockett, some people involved in it. So it's an act. And that's what one guy puts on an act. So I'm thinking to myself, right? That all the naysayers who talking about, if you don't know, and it's rain in October, and all should have never put a festival in October, and all in it rain. Why not? Why we can't do a festival in October knowing fully well that all the events might rain out and celebrate the rain part of it? We have the only rain carnival in the world. If you want a rain carnival, you have to come here and enjoy our, and we set up ourselves to ensure that, well, all right, if it's a rain, we know this will be an issue, the mud might be a problem, people getting sick, this or that, and we build it around that. We could build that thing around anything. We shouldn't be so fast to say, nobody don't know what they're doing. Well, let me tell you something. Nobody who don't know what they're doing. Let me help you with that one time. Nobody don't know what they're doing in these streets. People trying to figure it out as they go along, and they have some people who execute whether they know what they're doing or not, and then try to refine it and figure it out as they go along. And they have some people who stay home and execute nothing and talk about people who is execute. And that is just feedback for them to change and do it better. So Nadia Batson could come there and cry and apologize and all them things. But I just hope she doesn't stop. I just hope next year she come with the festival again and name it Mudfest. Because she herself say when she do her performances and think everybody had a great time in the mud and thing. And you know, one of the things is we need to get back at a traditional version of carnival where we could just go in vests and short pants and thing to throw away and fet in the mud and the dust like PSA anyway. So that was a big part of our carnival before. Maybe it could become a fixture in the Tobago Carnival so that we could enjoy it in a different way rather than it's the hair did and nails did and thing did and everything had to did before we go to the show. And by the time we done the show, we spent 10 grand on a carnival. It would be nice to see Trinidad Tobago Carnival be different. It's already unique, the space, the time of year it's in and so on. We could use that to our benefit. Let everybody come here and perform in raincoat like Burna Boy. It ain't perfect, but they do it. And doing it, as far as I concern, is no crime. Doing it is always a good thing as far as I concern. No, I don't like when I mention crime here. You know? As a matter of fact, I'm not talking about crime. I'm not talking about no CCTV upgrade with a face detection and thing for a man who just a couple months ago say, hey, the statistics showing that this ain't no crime. And I know say that crime here is just the same as every year. Now it's 5 something. He's saying, oh, well, we might have a problem. You know what I mean? Captain Obvious in charge. And I'm not saying nothing about Fitzgerald Hines saying that, well, all you wanted a response, we will get all a response. There's your response and some more crime and upgrade. I'm not going to talk about none of that. I just want to go straight to what I'm supposed to do and end this episode because I keep promising that every week I am going to have song reviews. And every week I just forget because I am not a young man, right? Sometimes I'll just remind my thing, and all mustn't just come and gangster man tell me about no episode. Sometimes I just remember what the hell we supposed to talk about in the episode. So I want to end this episode by doing a review on a new song I hear by the great Fay Ann Lyons. I'm talking about artists now who don't miss at all, you know what I mean? All that sort of crime and all them kind of thing. And if you're upgrading CCTV, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about how Fay Ann have a song named Upgrade. Let me check it out now.
Hey!
Yes?
Don't be ungrateful.
Never.
Say thanks, hey.
Oh, God.
Okay. You're welcome. Don't get mad, get glad.
Yes.
You should have smiled when you see my car parking.
Yes.
Don't scream, shout team. Cause the man where you have, he only selling your dreams. He would have cheat anyway. He would have been in the streets anyway. He would have go underneath anyway. You should have glad it was me any day. Listen, the wine that I give him now I make him with more. You know have a man, girl, your thing no score. You should have let me know I would have helped from before. I throw away your vinyl, get your hardwood floor.
No, Fay Ann, no. You cannot say that, Fay Ann. Fay Ann Lyons, I want to applaud Fay Ann Lyons, right? Because it's one of the greatest artists of all time, right? But you cannot say that. When I hear upgrade and thing, I tell myself we talking about how we upgrade the carnival, how she upgrades herself, and why we have to do this. I don't understand. When since little side thing and thing is, you can't tell the woman you upgrade, she man, this is not acceptable. What's going on, Fay Ann? Fay Ann, you married and happy, you know. You married and happy. You cannot be doing these kind of things in the streets. As a matter of fact, don't mention my wife or girl name or not. Don't say no words up. Don't say no words. How you reach the point now where you could say because you was with the man you sending back and you should be grateful. When I hear you should be grateful and thing, I say, well, all right, upgrade, you should be grateful. I like how the song start. But why it had to be a situation where you calling the woman and telling she upgrade? She might take it this way.
Hey!
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Say thanks, hey. Hey!
It's not right.
Okay.
You shouldn't do it.
Don't get mad, get glad.
No.
That smile when you see my car parking.
No.
Scream, shout team.
No.
The man where you have, he only selling your dreams. He would have cheat anyway.
No.
Would have been in the streets anyway.
No.
Would have go underneath anyway.
Maybe.
I'm glad it was me any day. Listen, the wine that I give him now I make him with more.
Yes.
You know have a man, girl, your thing no score. You should have let me know I would have helped from before. I throw away your vinyl, get your hardwood floor. The food where I give him now you never will regret. Be healthy and lengthy and everything set.
Yes.
Congratulate your girl on a job well done. Say thanks now. You're welcome. I upgrade your mind.
Oh,
I
Lord.
upgrade your mind.
Oh, Lord.
Upgrade your mind. Why? Now your man is a brown.
Why?
Upgrade your mind.
Why are we doing this?
Upgrade your mind. Upgrade your mind. So girl, you know have a man. Listen, if I pick him up and fix him up and drop him back Monday, I pick him up and fix him up and drop him back Tuesday, I pick him up and fix him up.
I don't like this song at all.
If I pick him up and fix him up and drop him back Wednesday, I pick him up and fix him up and drop him back
Thursday.
I pick him up and fix him up. See if I pick him up and fix him up, I give him back. Don't get vexed, cause my flex simplifying your life that was so complex. No fuss, discuss. Now the effort that I put in benefit both of us. He would have roam anyway. He would have never stay home anyway. He would have leave you alone anyway. He have a backup phone anyway.
Bungie, as a man, you could talk to Fay Ann for me, please.
Drop him off tomorrow, you could handle the rest. So when you see he come home and you're feeling impressed, remember to be grateful he learned from the best. You see your thing mash up with a PS outside, and if I didn't help, girl, it wouldn't be right. So you should be the happiest thing under the sun. Say thanks now, you're welcome.
I don't like this song. This is very, very, very disrespectful. Nobody, who record this? Who is the producer? I hope the producer ain't no man.
Is a brown. I upgrade your mind. I upgrade your mind. I upgrade your mind. So girl, you know have a man. Listen, if I pick him up and fix him up, I drop him back Monday. I pick him up and fix him up.
I bring him back Tuesday.
I pick him up and fix him up.
I come back Wednesday.
I pick him up and fix him up. If I pick him up and fix him up,
Don't call my wifey.
pick him up and fix him up.
Don't call nobody.
I pick him up and fix him up. See if I pick him up and fix him up.
Can somebody from the male delegation of Soca answer back this song, please? Is Farmer Nappy or Swappy or anybody available to answer this?
Cause your man is a brand. You better learn to grade your man. Hey, hey, grade your man.
It's the worst song I hear for the whole carnival. Salute to the great Fay Ann Lyons. A hit is a hit. Anywhere in the world, a hit is a hit. And that is a hit. I just want all to be very careful. Now, this is the first carnival we coming back out. And some people have to, you have to split your time with how you're going to fets. You know what I mean? Some for the wife, some for the next thing, some for the grandmother. You have a lot of things to do. Do not be in no fet with no next thing when Fay Ann and them come to sing this song. Because Fay Ann and them, unlike Burna Boy, that the crowd interaction with Fay Ann and them is going to talk to people who in front of the fet, who holding on to woman tight and holding on to man tight that does not belongs to them. Fay Ann is going to do this. And you're going to end up on IG and you're going to end up on TV and these things. But all right, upgrading, man, Fay Ann, all right, you're upgrading people, only married and happy, you know. I don't like only married people who sing these kind of songs and then make things bad for everybody. And make things bad for everybody. So listen, I'm wrapping up this episode and I'm playing a song by the greatest couple in soca.
Yo! Fighting, yeah. Fight queen, right in.
This song's special to me, because right now I'm trying my best to see if I could play mass next year, but my foot not allowing me to walk more than half hour.
I'm feeling to touch the road and bust a wine.
As I walk half hour, it's sit down time.
The road and bust a wine. Bust a wine. Bust a wine. I'm feeling to touch the road and bust a wine.
Hear me love how you wine and make we watch.
Bungie, talk to your wife for me, please. Now.
Love how you wine and make it catch. Love how you rise and make it drop.
I doubting Bungie approved that upgrade song. I really don't like it, you know.
Clap. Stiletto heels and you're balancing. Move left to right like you're balancing. Short and round or you tall and slim. Anytime where you have, you spend all at gym. Love when you walk through the mall and ting. Then you touch the road, then we call and bling. Then we mix this like a juice and gin. Hey baby, let me do something.
I'm feeling to touch the road and bust a wine. I'm feeling to touch the road and bust a wine.
Bust a wine. Usually I would tell you to have a safe and productive week, but the time this coming out, I want to let you enjoy the weekend, stay safe in these streets. Let me bring back a peaceful TNT and love one another. Let me just stop fighting one another and killing one another. Remember McDonald Jacobs say they know we face on the CCTV and them thing now, so you know what I mean? Time for this thing to change and let me get some upliftment in this country.
I'm feeling to touch the road and bust a wine.
So wherever you're going, stay safe. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it and I will talk to you all in next week. Bye.